Very happy to be here, guys, and welcome to. Oh, I'm just kidding. Okay. So the purpose today is to just open another career path for myself, just in case Android goes bust and Google shuts down. They abandon Android. I'm left without a job. Maybe I can salvage my career by doing some web development. It's something you should know, really, I believe. And I don't know anything about it, so I'm here to fix that. With me is an expert at this stuff. He will teach us everything. You may ask him anything. He knows everything, whether it's development or any other thing. So, yeah,
Belly dancing.
anything. Water, yeast consumption. So, yeah, what we're going to do is Django, because Python is the best. So we're going to go with Django. Django allows you to build a web app with a lot of stuff. I don't know what it does really, but it's supposed to be very cool and easy. What do you think?
What do you want to do?
Yes, we want to start by what I want is a blog, because I went ahead and bought saltserve.com. I think this domain name speaks to me. I like it. It has salt in it because my family name is Maleh, and that means salt. Serve, because I'm cool. I like it. It's the package name I use for my Android app. So yeah, so I want to have a blog under that address.
You want to learn some web development, basically.
Yeah, I want something like this. Paul Graham. So simple. Bam. The content is here. The things are. Oh no. So things are here. The content is here. That's it. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, we can get started with that. Shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. How?
So Python, basically. Ready. We want to go. We want to do Python.
Yes.
Okay. Now the obvious choices, plural, when you go with Python is basically it's either Flask or Django. Now people would prefer Flask because they call it minimalistic. I say go with Django for all the batteries that are included. So we probably would be better off going the Django route. It also has lots of magic, and they are quite fun. So we can, and if we have time today, we can end up seeing it working live with all the magic. So let's give it a try.
Oh.
All right, let's dock the browser on the right side, by the way, because it's
the browser on the right side. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's occupying the full screen.
Do that. There you go.
All right, so let's start with creating an environment. We're going to isolate the environment because Python can litter your environment very easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a virtual environment. Okay, so the very first thing, let's create a base folder that we can contain everything in. Let's call it sample or whichever. Create. Okay,
no, we want to go official. We're gonna create salt serve. This is there.
Okay. All right.
There you go. Can you see the font of the terminal, my viewers? It doesn't matter. I'm not here to teach anybody, right? Remember? Okay, we're in.
Looks good.
Okay.
All right, so let's create an environment. Let's go with Python. Just type it as is.
There.
All right, we created a virtual environment. Now click that. Excellent. All right, now we have to activate it. All right, so you have to do source env bin activate.
Source.
Okay, so what we're going to do is let's pip install the Django package. Now, pip is the package manager, by the way. It's one of the package managers. There are multiple, but pip is really the go-to for most.
All right.
So now what you did is basically you installed Django and any dependency it has. Right. Now we're going to create our base project. So what we're going to do is Django-admin space start project, and let's call it. Actually, call it. Fine. We're going to have to do some renaming because of the way the structure goes. Just call it saltserve for now. All right. Now show me the tree. So do tree space saltserve.
No command found. Tree. What do I do?
you drop your Mac, you throw it in the garbage, and you get a better machine.
Oh, it's native to Linux machines, this command?
No, it's not.
Salt serve. There you go.
Okay, so have a
Wait,
look at this folder.
there.
Right, go again. Okay, so your main folder, which is saltserve, has a manage.py file. Now, this manage.py file, which is the entry point to the entire application, right? So you can create applications, you can start servers, and etc., etc., etc.
Yes.
Then you have a folder which contains the configuration, which is settings.py, as well as other files. We're not going to look at that right now, okay? So what we're going to do now, what I want you to do now, right, this is going to be very weird, but just accept it from your old friend and just go with it. Rename this folder mv saltserve into back or bck or whichever. Okay, now mv back / space dot.
Space dot. Oh, so,
okay.
Okay.
I'm just moving everything inside that folder into this one. Right, now you can remove the back folder. Now let's run the server. Let's our first milestone. We're gonna win. /manage.py success. There we go. You're now a web developer. Now go to the browser and copy that URL, which you see on the left side.
Wow.
There you go.
Nice.
Everything is installed successfully. All right. So this is the development server that is running. All right. Now Django does a couple of neat little tricks behind the scenes. Basically, it really excels at doing some database manipulation. It excels at giving you a playground for you to experiment with these with the database model that you create. So the very first thing I want you to do is I want you to open another tmux tab.
All right.
And another one. We're gonna have 3. We're gonna have one for our editor. The first one's gonna be our editor. Go to the first one, make it our editor. All right, so open Vim.
Yeah.
Again. All right, so the second one, we're going to activate the run server.
There you go.
So trigger happy, my friend.
Yeah, I'm my whole life is like this.
All right, let's go to the third one. Now we have to migrate.
Of course, enter.
Here's what's going to do. Right now, it's creating all the database-related stuff that comes by default with Django.
Yes.
Okay. Now you go to the browser and /admin.
There you go.
So this is the main admin site, right? That comes with Django by default. Now you cannot try. You're not going to be able to log in because we have not created any user now. So I want you to go back to the terminal and let's create a user. Space create super user, one word. Enter. No. Just enter. Yes. Now call it. All right. Just put whatever email. Excellent. Now you can log in. Try to log in now. The server is already running. That's why you can still do all the web stuff, right? Because the server is already running.
I'm in.
Right. You're in. Now this is the Django. Yes. A little bit larger because I can't see. Yeah, way more. I want to see what's inside the O.
Yeah.
Okay. So over here, you get to see all the default stuff that come with Django. By default, you have the exposure to users and groups. You can configure users there. You can configure groups there. But we're not going to use that now. However, we are going to use Django admin to do some data entry, right? So that we can gain time, so that we don't do much back-end stuff. We're going to be able to create some data there. All right. Let's go back to the terminal. Let's open the editor and let's do some coding now. All right. Now, wait, no, actually, I keep forgetting. Okay, so the structure, as you remember it, is the base structure for Django. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have to create an app that will host our models. So go back to tab 3, and what we're going to do is manage.py start app space
app.
blog. You wanted the blog, right?
Yes. Blog.
All right. Now do 3 space blog so that you can see the files that it created.
Okay.
You can see a couple of files. The most notable one that I want you to consider right now is models.py. You see that models.py? Models.py is where you create all your database related models and logic if you are new to this system. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Let's go back to our editor and open models.py. Okay, great. So let's create a post model, class post. All right, just keep what you got right now from Copilot. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. All right, tab it. Come on.
Oh, you want the whole thing? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's just drop the underscore at from the fields. All right. So the class post, this is going to end up representing the blueprint for the table itself. So the
Okay.
table inside the database. Now, every field that you see, every property of that class, title equal, content equal, etc., is a column inside the database, inside the table. So the first one's going to end up being a varchar 200. The second one's going to end up being a text field. The third one's going to be a date time. However, the date time, when you create the record, the first one created, you see there's a property called auto now add, right? There's auto now add equal true. This auto now add equal true means that when the record is created, it's going to automatically populate this field.
Yeah.
The second one, auto now equal true, it means every time you change anything inside this record, it's going to enter the date, it's going to recreate the date it's going to set it at the current date. That's how it works. str generally means the string representation of this record, right? So save this.
Where'd you read str? Oh, str. Oh, toString,
yeah.
right? Like it's like toString. Okay.
That's exactly what it is. In Python, it's underscore underscore str underscore underscore. They call it the dunders, basically. Double underscore. So we were going to save. Now we're going to open settings.py. Settings.py. Okay. Now scroll to, not scroll, but you can search for installed capital install. Yes. And the last entry, I want you to create a new row beneath that. Just call it blog inside. Okay, so what we did is when we created the app at first, start app blog. Now what we did here is that we mentioned to Django, this is the app that you're going to have to find. So anytime you're going to run the app, it's going. The hell are you? Oh my god! What the hell, man?
I want to eat some chocolate.
What is this? That's not chocolate. That's fireworks, man. It's not chocolate. The fuck is that? So now Django knows where to find our blog app. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to the terminal. We have the terminal. Open the third. Open the third window.
Okay.
Open the third window. Okay. And let's do manage.py. Make migrations. What it did there is that it created a migration for the post model. And you can go see that later on, but for now, let's just move on. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to migrate right now. So we're going to do /manage.py space migrate. Great. Now our database has the post model. Let's play with that a little bit. /manage.py shell. Let's open the shell now.
Okay.
Great. Now we're inside the shell that we can use to experiment on our database. We have an app called blog, and we have the models file inside. So what we're going to do is from space blog.models space import space post. So how do we get all the posts? It's post.objects.all.
Yeah.
You can see that there's nothing, right? We haven't created any post so far. What we're going to do is we're going to create our first post. We're going to use post.objects.create. No, you're gonna have to let's specify the actual property names. So what did we call it? Is it all right? All right. So we only need title and content. So go and to title equal.
Cool.
Now it says basically it created the first one, right? So how do we get that first one? All right. What we can do is we can say post.objects.all, or you can use Control R. All right. So you can see this one fetched the list of posts that you have. That's the entire list of posts that you have. What about to get just one? I'm just gonna get the first one. So do the same, but instead of all, do first. Store that in a variable called p. So p equal.
Okay. P equal. Okay.
There's a okay. So now this is p, right? So do p.title so you can inspect the data. P.content, p.created, and p.updated.
Cool.
All right, so let's do something now. We have the Django admin on the right side. Now we experimented on how to create it. Actually, here's a bonus step. Do the all again, post.objects.all, but don't hit enter. All right, do .query __str. Sounds good? You now know how to inspect the query actually that's executing. That's supposed to execute. Which is very
so this says Post all dot query. Oh, the query is having toString called on it. It's not the str that we saw in the models.
Yes, exactly.
Each model has an str. This is just
well,
this str.
well, each model, okay, each class in Python
Each class, I mean, yeah.
can support str or repr, which is another one, right? Okay, so let's now register the post model inside the Django admin so that we no longer have to use the shell to create this crap. So let's go back to our editor and open the file that's called admin.py, which is next to model.py. Okay. Now, this is where you register models to within the admin. So what we're going to do, oh, yeah, correct.
There.
That's actually exactly what you should be doing. And let's say admin.site.register. Thank you, Copilot.
This is Copilot.
Thank you, Copilot.
Okay.
Okay. All right, now you can refresh the browser. And now you can see that we have an entry. Yes. Posts. Click on it. Great. You can see our first blog post, the one that we created within the shell. And you can see the data over here. Okay.
Cool.
Now you can see, for example, save and add another.
Okay.
All right. Create a new one.
There.
So you see the interesting part about the Django admin, it's not meant to be used in production, but it really simplifies your work when you're doing development, right? So you can quickly create some data to use, right? And you can select whichever one you want. You can delete, you can update, and so on. There are some libraries that depend heavily on the admin, and they complement it in a way to make it more production ready. Now, generally, people that use the Django admin in production, they tend to be internal tools, not really much front client facing. So this is just for now, okay? Let's start creating the front end pages. I want you to open the urls.py, which is not under blog, it's under SaltServe. There's a urls file. All right. Over here, you can see why we were able to open the admin, the /admin.
Oh, because it's supported already, yeah.
Exactly, that's why. So if you comment that out, yeah, you can give it a try.
But now, admin shouldn't work. It doesn't.
Correct.
Okay.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to expose anything we do inside the blog app. We're going to make sure that it can receive calls from the server as well. So we're going to add another path. We're going to add another path before from Django.urls import path. Add comma at the end. I should shut up and just let Copilot do this shit for me. No, you don't need that. Yeah, it can keep going. Okay. So instead of admin, call it blog. Now delete the next token and do include blog.urls as is. It's inside include, not outside. Yes, namespace equal blog. Excellent. All right, save that. All right, now what we told the system, we basically specified that anytime the developer wants to reference a URL, he has to namespace it with the word blog. Now we're going to see how that works. I want you to open within the blog folder a file called urls.py.
There is no URL.
There's no. Yes, create one. Okay. Now let's do from Django.urls import path. Actually, copy the pattern from the other one. Go copy the pattern from the other one. Copy this. Yeah. We're not really going to use it. You could have just written it again, but I mean, just out of, yeah, just paste. All right. Comment this, remove the second one and comment the first one. All right. And what you need to do is you need to specify that this URLs file corresponds to the app before URL patterns, app_name equal blog. Okay, great. Now let's add a quick URL to test. Name home. Keep it as is. Okay. Now create a function before URL patterns, because normally you wouldn't create them inside the same inside the URLs, but for now, what we're going to do, we're going to create them in the same file. So def home as is. Keep it as is. Okay. I think you're going to have to also import from Django.shortcuts. Great.
Okay.
Now, before we do anything, just read this function that we created. The function that we created says there's a home function that takes a request, and then it renders, it feeds that request to the template that is basically blog/home.html.
Just takes the request and calls render on the request, and given The path is going to be resolved in some way upwards to
Exactly.
the other URLs.
Let's create the HTML file. All right. So
Okay.
open the blog folder. Create a folder called templates. Yes.
There.
Inside the templates folder, create a blogs folder. Great. Now within blogs folder, create home.html.
Okay.
Save it. Keep it empty for now. Okay.
Okay.
Or add whatever you want. Just add whatever you want. Okay. Now within the browser, change admin to blog instead of admin. You're gonna get an error. The reason you got an error, no, stay on top. The
Okay.
error is more than explanatory on top. You see the DIRs. There's DIRs where you are right now.
Yeah.
Right now inside DIRs. Okay, keep that. Okay, but instead of base dir templates, do base dir blog. Think of it as a path. This is the way that the new pathlib works. So blog templates, blog. Yeah, I'll explain to you later. This will come into the magic of Django later. Try to refresh. Okay, empty. Why? Because our home file is empty. Now add anything to our home file just to see how it works. Use ChatGPT to generate a home. Actually, ask it to generate. Hold on. Actually, ask it to generate the following. So we're not going to write HTML. So generate an HTML page for a blog post list using Bootstrap 5. That way we can avoid doing some HTML. Copy code, paste over there, and try to refresh your page over there.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. Excellent.
Very cool.
Great. So this is our home, right? We got ChatGPT to generate it. Go back to the URLs file that we created. Okay. So right now, what you see, here's what you see in front of you. What you see in front of you is that the request came to /blog. The main URLs file, not this one, the main URLs file, forward that request to this URLs file. This URLs file tried to find whatever did the rendering based on the function that's called home. The function that's called home. Forget about the name equal home.
Oh,
that's the name URL.
That's the name of the function.
Home is the name of the function call. Yes.
It should be called render home.
You can call it render home if you want, or you can keep it home. So
that
what we did basically is all we did is render blog home. Now there are so many shortcuts in Django that you can really do this entire stuff without even thinking, and I'll show you later on. So here's what we're going to do. Let's get the posts list. So within the home function, let's a new line, and let's say posts equal post.objects.all. Okay. Now import posts as well from the models. Okay. Now after the template call at the end, add another argument at the end. Okay. Which is just as is. God damn Copilot. Thank you very much. All we're doing is that we're passing the posts that we have in this function to the template, which is home.html, via something called a context argument. What I want you to do is now open the home.html. Try to reduce the size a little bit of the text so that you can see what's going to happen. Okay. All right. How many posts do we have on screen? I think we have 2, right? If we have 2 on screen, I want you to delete the repeated one. There's one that is repeated, right? The call MD6.
This one.
Okay. Yes. Delete it. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Now you see the call MD6. That is the blog post entry in our list.
Yeah.
In the list, which is in the browser, right? Open the browser. Now, wait. Try to save it. By the way, save it and refresh the browser. You're going to only see one. Try to refresh.
Only one, of course.
We have only one. Okay. Now we're going to loop because we already had 2, right? We had 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a loop. Now underneath underneath the row. All right. So for post in posts. Now where did this variable posts come from? It came from the function call we had in our home. You remember? In our home function. All right. You see the thing that we added the argument at the end. There it is. It was assigned to what? To posts. It's post, but it was assigned to post as well, right? All right. Instead of calling it post, here's what I want you to do. Call it object_list, just to differentiate the two. Okay. Go back to the HTML file. Instead of post, now you have to call it object_list. That makes sense now?
Yeah.
Okay, now we have to close the for loop. So 14 lines below, it's
This is how
Sam,
you
it's
make a
not
for loop in HTML.
it's in Django templates. Just to answer a question on your chat, Sam, it's not supposed to be in the URLs, but for the sake of clarity, and since we're just explaining this stuff, we will keep it right there, but then we're going to move them to views afterwards. That's why. It's definitely not going to be in the urls.py. Just for clarity, so that we don't keep jumping files.
Don't think we're like savages here, Sam.
So now that we have the template, now that we're looping over the post, you can save and you can go refresh the browser. Refresh the browser. Now you see both entries are here. The thing we created 3 or 2. Can you reduce the size so that we can see? Because it's too. Okay, now it makes more sense. There you go. Okay, now let's change the data that we have. Everything inside this loop is being repeated as many times as you have posts. First of all, do CIT here and do open the braces, 2 braces open and 2 closed. Okay, and do post dot content. I think this is the content, right? Yeah, this is the content. And the one before it, CIT on the H5, this is post dot title.
Yeah. Okay, now I believe. All right.
Now you believe?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, because actually Sam has the right idea, you shouldn't have your views inside your URLs. I want you to go to the URLs file, take off this home function, just copy it entirely at the same time because you're going to copy it elsewhere. Now go to the views file within the same folder. So save this now.
Yeah.
All right, but you have to import the post object. Now delete all this shit that was there in URLs, all of the stuff that you have here. Okay, so delete this one and delete model posts. But you still need to do something because now we move the function to another file. You're going to have to say from dot views, or actually from dot import views. Now prepend home with views, views dot home. Yes, views dot home.
So it's like a class.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now try to refresh the site. It should still function the same way. Now we're going to add the ability to drill down into the post. So let's add one for details. But the path, we're going to change the path. Yes. Now close.
So
exactly.
cryptic.
So what does this say?
What is this?
No, it's not cryptic. It's basically saying
integer primary key.
Yes, it's a converter. It's not necessarily a primary key. It's an identifier. But whatever you're passing here, it's going to be parsed using an integer, right? That's how it's going to be parsed. Okay, flip these, by the way. All right, so now that we added a reference to the blog, the specific blog detail, we're going to open the views file. Okay, copy this function, duplicate it. Okay, call it detail. But first, the function call expects an integer. So you have to add an integer to the function call, which is a pk.
Function call here.
Yes, add an argument. Add an argument called pk, as is. Exactly.
All
right, so, but over here, we're not getting the post. We're getting one post. So instead of posts, you have one post.
First?
Okay.
No.
And instead of all, no.
Bind.
We're going.
pk.
No. Close.
Yes.
Let's do get pk equal pk. Okay. Or id equal pk. Either way. In Python, we don't put spaces between. Yeah, exactly. All right. Now you have below, you have blog.html. Call it detail.html. Blog detail.html. Okay. Now instead of object list, call it object. Since right now we're no longer passing object list, we just need one object, right?
Yeah.
And instead of posts, it's just post. Great. Now we need a file called detail.html, right? Or details.html. So copy the home one. Okay. Normally you wouldn't need to duplicate. We could just create a base. Do you want to create that now? Create a new file called base.html. Paste it here.
There.
Now open the content. Now everything except everything inside the container, which is 16 below. Yeah, everything inside this container, just CIT, remove it. Open the open the braces %. Say block content as mind reader. All right. Okay, so this is our base file.
Block content and block content. Oh, so it's just a block for someone else to make use of
it.
Inherit.
Exactly. So let's open the post list again. All right. Now remove everything except the stuff that you like. Everything container from container above. Everything from container and above container. Yes. Delete container as well.
Okay.
and everything below, not the div below and for the one after it, delete below. Yes, everything below that, DG, including another one. Create a block content here as well that wraps all of this. It has to wrap all of this. You Android folks really like to add spaces liberally,
It's
right?
just me, I think.
All right, but we're not done. We're not done because we still
Not
need to
done.
inherit the other file.
All
So
right.
the first file we have to extend. Add a new row. Let's call it extends based as is. Exactly. Remove one of the block contents. Remove static. We don't need static.
So
Okay,
extends
save.
base.html, and the block content of whatever that guy's expecting is going to be this.
Exactly.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Now you can refresh your page and you should get the exact same thing you had before. There's home and details. Both are extending from base. Now we have two pages that inherit from the base page, but we did not link them together yet.
There is
right?
no
You see
thing that leads to the details page yet. The read
Correct.
more
This
button
is
has
why-
to do that.
Exactly. So
Okay.
within the read more button, there's
Yeah.
an aref. Open the braces. Let's see if it can autocomplete properly. No autocomplete. All right. Space URL. No, you're not gonna guess this. Space quote blog colon quote blog colon details. Okay. Close quote. Okay. Now we're not done yet. Now we do. I think it's PK over here. PK equal post.id. Yeah, we have to load static. Exactly. Close this parenthesis. Yeah. And do like Sam said, you have to load static on the top. In the second line, the same format as extends, but call it load space static. So now that we have this, you can refresh the screen. You can refresh the blog post list.
Did I save? Okay. Wow.
But the thing is that we're not really doing any formatting for it to make sense. Here's what I want you to do. Open the Django admin and open your post, any one of the posts, just so that you can see it really in action. And open any one of the posts and add a bunch of lines in the content. So just copy your content a lot of time. So this is going to mess up your main screen, by the way, for a reason. Go to the blog. We don't have a backlink, so just refresh. This is going to mess it up. So here's what I want you to do. Go back to the home, and instead of content, do content, then pipe. Okay, pipe truncate words, and do 20:20. Now refresh the page.
Wow.
Okay. Now do read more. That makes more sense.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I think we've done enough, but let's end it on a good note. So let me show you a little bit of Django's magic. Okay. It's way beyond the scope of what you would use, but let's do a little bit more magic.
Sure.
Let's do actually a little bit of magic. Rename details. Call it post_detail without s .html. Okay. Instead of home, call it post_list.html. Now go back to the views file. All right. Comment these 6 lines. Comment them out. Add a line at the end, at the very end. All right. Do from Django.views.generic. Yes. Keep as is. Now do class post list view as is. Keep it as is. Okay. Model post. Only model post. Hit tab and delete the last two. Delete the last two. Okay. Keep that as is. Now create another one, but instead make it detail view. Call it detail view. Go to urls.py. Comment out these two. Instead of views.home, do views.postlistView.asView as_view. And do the same for the post detail view.
Okay.
Sam, not always. I prefer them when there's inheritance involved, when I need to have things carry over from one class-based view to the other. But generally, it's function-based view for the complicated stuff. Okay. Now, you see how many changes we've done?
Sure. 2.
Right. Go back to the other one, the views.py. Notice what we have over here. We have post list view that just says this is a model. The model is post. And this is a detail view that just the model is post. Now refresh the screen.
Working.
Click read more.
Working.
Absolutely nothing changed, right?
Yeah.
But if you notice, we didn't really do any calls to the database. We didn't even mention any template. We didn't even pass anything. We didn't even do anything, right?
Oh, you got rid of the stuff. This is the
the
key. This is the routing.
Did you notice how we got rid of them?
How does
How?
it know?
Because Django has okay,
Where is it getting
when
the? How does it know that it's at blog
all right, look,
if nobody
there's a
tells it?
no, it does know that it's at blog
But
because of
nobody
the
told
URLs.
it.
Yes, you did. The first URLs file, the URLs .py,
It's in
which
salt
is salt serve
serve
URLs.
curls. There. Ah.
Okay, we included the blog URLs, but the trick here is that there are some classes which are generic classes. They're really conventional. They have lots of convention, so it allows developers to simplify being a big fat freaking simplify, because it's actually not simplify. If you read what Sam says, he says basically there's too much. It's too much magic. The CBV, which is called the class-based view, is too much magic, which is correct, by the way. It is way too much magic. Now, once you get used to them, they can become better, but they're still quite annoying to deal with, and they're
I have
really
no
advanced.
idea how this could be like intuited by the platform all on its own. Like I would get lost if like, the first
So
way
if you
is
want,
clearer.
of course, it's clearer, it's easier. And if you want in the future, if you get accustomed to it and you need to learn more, I could take control of the editor, and I could walk you through how this works. It's very easy to see how this works. But
Okay.
imagine you writing the same thing all over again in Android in terms of the fragments and all of the scrap
There's
that you
no
used to
way.
that
This is
you used.
one day.
Well, here no, let me tell you something. And
You
then
need a day.
eventually somebody comes and creates a wrapper that is generic enough for all of you Android developers to use, but it's based on configuration. The parameter that specifies the view, the XML file has to be called this, and the XML file should end with underscore detail.xml, and the list file has to end with underscore list.xml. So there's a convention that these class-based views enforce, which you can adjust, by the way. You can change the template name and you can change each one.
Now you could argue that compose is class-based views if that's what you mean, because there's nothing called XML anymore. The class itself is everything that the view needs to launch and do everything.
No, it's just convention, nothing more. These
Oh,
class-based views are just convention. So in
I
fact,
thought it was like something fancy. All right.
if you dig into the implementation of these class-based views, you will end up seeing function-based views. So the more you drill down, you start with like so much magic. The more you drill down, the more it makes sense. But what you have to consider, my friend, is that this method of developing web apps is rather rudimentary compared to how it's being done right now, nowadays. It's still a very powerful way of developing web apps, but it's rudimentary compared to how things are right now with all the single page applications, this entire JavaScript front end. They split the front end with the back end being a set of microservices which communicate between each other, and the front end queries some gateway in between, etc. It's like it's way too massive right now. And normally, which is something I mentioned to you off stream, when it comes to blogs, obviously building a blog from scratch is for educational purposes is a good idea. But if you end up using it, the better option would be to go something with like a static site generator, like Pelican or Jekyll, etc.
Well, are we gonna do another one of these?
It's up to you. If you like what you have done today, we can do it. Next time, I could take control, maybe move a little bit faster if you want. And that way we can get some things in. We can make we can add the creation of the posts within the site itself instead of being within the admin. We can add tags. We did not add any users. We can add users. We can add tags. We can add a WYSIWYG editor so that you can design properly formatted
Cool.
blog posts. We can do all of this.
What is your opinion on HTMX? It is very Ajax with less JS.
I loved
What
it,
does that
and
even
I
mean?
actually incorporated it in a small feature in our site in one of our web apps. It gave me a little bit of headache, but in general, for smaller web apps, it's excellent. And in fact, I've seen it used in much larger projects, and it's It's old kind of Ajax brought into 2023, which is well 2000. Well, I think HMX is actually old, but it's just coming new right now. It was previously called intercooler, and intercooler, was it intercooler or intercool? And intercooler existed in like 2012, I think, or 2013, which was the predecessor of HMX. But it's a very interesting technology. I really like it. I think it's very smart.
All right. Thanks
Cool.
for tuning in, Sam. You're by far the most encouraging user here, interacting.
Hope you had fun.
All due respect to the others. Yeah, I hope you had fun. I did. It's complicated. I think I'm sticking to Android
Well,
for now.
I don't think it's complicated. Slower pace, basically. It was a little bit
Yeah.
slower pace for a reason, right? It gets faster later.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it.
Right? Thank you, my friend.
Modern.js React RMS, it is making things overcomplicated for nothing. Yeah, the Primogen was talking about that yesterday. He was showing front-end masters this page. He was showing something interesting about it. He said, look how fast this runs. And he went into, look at this. He's right. Look at that. Bam, 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 bam. Then he went into this and says, he went in the network as well. And he says, only show JavaScript, disable JS, reload. They load nothing. Just analytics. The whole thing is 100 KB. That's exactly what he showed. And these guys are doing it like there's no front-end framework here, he says. So yeah, I contributed to the conversation. I like that. All right. See you later.
Excellent. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.